Here we go. Hey, Skyfarers, and welcome to Aethercast, the Kharadron Overlords podcast. I'm Lee, the Arcanite Admiral. Joining me today is our resident Lord Magnate, Alexander Krohn.
Hey.
And our resident Half-Guard Berserker, we've got Hayden.
G'day, how's it going?
And the reason why everybody's actually watching, if you are watching, the latest Lord Magnate, the most magnetic of magnets, I guess, is Alex Thibaudeau. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
No, but it's okay.
Well,
Thibaudeau.
Seeing as we have two Alexes anyway,
Alex will be fine.
I think we'll go with Adeptus.
Adeptus.
Oh, yeah.
We'll call you
Adeptus will be
Alex.
fine as
We'll
well.
call Krohn.
Sure.
Yep.
Krohn.
So we won't get confused. So, for everyone tuning in, the reason why we have you on the show is because you recently went to Capital City Bloodbath in Ottawa, Quebec, 44-player tournament. And you won with Kharadron Overlords. Congratulations.
Well, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Good work,
Hard
man.
fought.
Hey.
So before we go through the list and your games and stuff, just generally, what was the tournament like? Give us a bit of an overview.
It was awesome. Actually, it was a 3-day event because we also had a team event on the Friday. So Saturday was 3 games, Sunday 3 games. We had the Honest Wargamer on site doing some podcast reviews and game reviews because there was also a huge 40K tournament as well. I think we were 42 players for the AoS event and close to 116 for the 40K event. So kind of a big deal. It's Canada's biggest event. I think it's been going on for the past 6 or 7 years. Only missed one. So yeah, big event. It's well organized. Darren this year, Chris the years before that did an awesome job. Great food, great people. So that's a must attend event for us in Canada.
So do you get people travel from other parts of Canada to it, like from Vancouver and stuff, or just mostly from
Ottawa is actually in Ontario, which is right next to the province of Quebec. So about half the field were from the province of Quebec. For me, it was a 4-hour drive, so not that big of a deal. A few Americans do attend. I think there was one this year for AoS and a bunch for 40K. People attend from Ottawa, from the Toronto area, and also from Manitoba, which is west of the Ontario. So I think it's mainly the eastern part of Canada and maybe the northeastern part of the United States. That's about it.
Okay. Kind of what I'd expect. I know in Australia we get people sort of flying halfway across the country to tournaments. That's worth asking.
Well, Canada's a big country.
Yeah. Cool. And so you actually contacted me about coming on the show before the event. So you feeling pretty confident? Are you well?
Yes and no. Because I actually saw the Aethercast and I was like, well, that's cool, like a podcast about KOs. And since I was attending a big event, might as well chip in and talk about it with fellow admirals. And did I feel confident? Yes, because I think I'm a good player. I actually finished second overall last year at CCBB with a Stormcast list. Lost 1 game to the champion and did very well. And, I had a feeling about KOs because I've been running them for a few months now and I was doing pretty good with them. I had 2 prep tournaments, 1-day events. I finished 2-1 both times, but only lost by a tiny margin. So I thought if I get some good matchups, I might be able to pull it off. and I did. So I had some awesome matchups. No Deepkin, no Nidons. So
Lucky you.
oh yeah, lucky me. You know, so
Did you play any
I
flesh
lucked
reports?
out on matchups twice. 2 Flesh Record players.
Ooh.
And both games were over fairly quickly. My quickest game was round 4 against Flesh Eater Courts. The guy conceded bottom turn 2, so it was a quick and
rough.
fair. Yeah, I
Shoot all
baited
the-
him with the Fleet Master redeploy thing, and he went for it, and it was the only game out of the 6 that I went first, and basically killed his 2 dragons, his regent, all his summoning. He was left with like 20 goals or something.
Oof.
So, yeah. Tough.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's what they deserve, right? Fleshy Records, they strike before you.
I think it's
they-
pretty good to go.
Oh yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. Like,
You can't strike first
if you
if
can
you get
take out a
shot.
summoning, then
There you go. That's the Slanesh way of seeing things.
Yeah.
I agree.
so tell us a little bit about your list.
The list I took was Zilfin. I really think that Zilfin is, if you want to go competitive with KOs, you have to go with Zilfin.
You really
I
do.
think, yeah.
Yeah, I love that thing.
I think Zon, Nar, Thring are not competitive enough. I think Urbaz can be,
Maybe.
but that's
Same.
iffy.
Yeah.
More
I
Nar
think if you're taking
Mornar-
sorry.
I think Mornar is a trap, actually, because Mornar encourages you to do the things you already do well, even better, but the whole Skyport hinges on a squishy character and a turn 1 heavy shooting. And,
Yeah.
you know, most people I see or battle reports I read about people having trouble with KOs is, well, I went first, shot some things, and then I got tabled. Well, I don't think you're supposed to go first with KOs. You're supposed to go second. You're
Yeah.
supposed to having the enemy goes forward, and then you can unleash and you can have that double turn, because KOs, they cannot withstand a double. They just can't.
No, they
So that's the biggest weakness. So if you
It's
go,
not hard to double turn yourself, is it? It's just not being double turned.
yeah, exactly. You know, I think that KOs have a lot of strength, but you know, endurance, durability are not strengths of that army, not by a
Not
long
really.
shot. Yeah.
Glass
So I
cannon.
went Zilfin. Yeah,
Definitely.
glass cannon. Exactly. So I went Zilfin because I think that you win games with movement in AoS.
Go inside now.
And
It's raining.
Zilfin pretty much is the best one. Movement wise, that old 6 auto run, that movement in the hero phase, it's just awesome. So I went Zilfin. I struggle a bit with my characters because they're so bad, except the chemist, which is a must include in pretty much every list. Still expensive, even though it dropped like by 20 points, I think. So I went Navigator. Usually I ran an Admiral because I could run the Ironclad an extra 6 inches and then shoot. So again, movement. But with the list I designed, dropping the Admiral for Navigator allowed me to include 3 more Engine Riggers. So I dropped 5 Thunderers, and by doing the switch, it allowed me to have more Engine Riggers. So that's a choice I made. The Navigator was an okay choice, I think. Didn't do much the whole tournament, even though it can unbind and never happened. His ability to block movement, flying movement, never happened, but it could have. I also thought about matchups when I designed my list, like what matchups would give me nightmares, and that's Deepkin and that's Nighthawks. Nighthawks, they just ignore Rend. Yeah, because they ignore Rend. You know,
But they've all got
army.
fly.
Yeah, that's the reason for Zilfin as well. Same for Deepkin, because even though they have fly, you're rerolling once to hit into wound, they still ignore Rend, and that's a huge part of our arsenal to me. And not only Nighthawks, but death with Nighthawks units, like with Grimghast Reapers and stuff like that. So, and of course, Deepkin, they mess with your shooting, they mess with the Rend because of their Ishlengard eels. So I was So what can I do more if I face those armies, which are nearly auto-lose matchups for us? And a navigator nifty trick of denying movement or having movement.
Yeah.
I thought was a cool trick to pull because no one would expect it. So it kind of felt right. I allowed me to have a more combat unit and to have a nice little trick for flying armies if I ever faced one. So that was the two main characters, Navigator with Fleet Master. I just love that command trait. I think it's underrated. I basically redeployed 65% of my army every single game, and that's huge. That's huge. If you would read in a book in a battle tome, well, that command trait allows you to redeploy 65% of your units. You would take it in a heartbeat, right? So that's what it does. And I'm sorry?
I used to use it quite a lot as well in my games.
Yeah. So it's an awesome command trait. I took Earbuster for my Artifact of Power. Those were for crowd control, like Plague Monks, ghouls, and again, that's not something you see every day. I battle shocked a 40 ghoul unit in the shooting phase, and the face of my opponent was like disbelief. Like, you just did that? Yeah, I just did. I killed like 50 more goals in the battle shock there. Well, I'm gonna Inspiring Presence then. No, it's in the shooting phase, right? So
because it gets through the Inspiring Presence command trait. Because shooting phase, you can't use it.
Yep, and the Warp Seer as well. The only thing that really prevents it, or things I would say, is the Gloom Spite Loon Shrine. If they're within 12, they're immune to battle shock, and the Screaming Bell. So if you can draw them outside of the range, you can pummel them and kill them via battle shock. So that was.
Does the Daughters of Cain battle shock immunity? Does it get around that, or was that just a straight immunity?
Oh, I think you're right. I think you might be right. I haven't played Daughters in ages, so I don't know. There were no Daughter players at CCBB. And there are none in my area, so there you go. I took for extra footnote. There's no training because why not? That's the one you should take every single time.
That's the one you take, isn't it? So
yeah, it's not even a contest. After that, for battle line, I went with 3 small units of Arcanauts, hooks, and volley guns. I would go all hooks, but I only have 6 hooks models. So I went with what I had. So because hooks are just better, even though volley guns
per box.
and you get 1 per box. And actually I lucked out because I bought a used squad in my local store, and they had 3 hooks in that squad, so I just jumped on it, allowing me to have all these extra hooks. But volley guns did pretty well actually against Flesh Eater Courts. 18 shots, 4s and 4s, rolling 1s. Against big dragons, it's nothing to sneeze at, actually.
And if you come up against Nighthaunt or something, then and it's less rend being ignored and more shots.
Yes, exactly. Exactly, I agree. So I tried it. I liked it. So it was not like a big loss for me not having all hooks on my squads. So I know that the Internet Wisdom is a big block of Arcanauts with hooks. I don't like that. I don't like big blocks of troops. I don't like. And the thing is, if you put 40 of them with a chemist, it's more than 600 points of squishy models, slow models that won't move. And again, especially for CCBB, where the only scoring was, basically only scoring was objectives. So there were no reward for kill points. Even if you table your opponent, you had no rewards for it. So only objective. Even if you won by 1 point or 40 points, it's still a major win. So I built my list around being able to move, to capture objectives quickly. So again, Zilfin and the small squads of Arcanauts. I went with Thunderers, and I'd like to thank Krohn over there because I never thought about using 14 Thunderers until I saw your CanCon battle reports. So I was like, yeah, there's short units because 15 without chemist is the same as 10 with chemist, basically. Same number of shots.
Yeah.
So
Get 2 more
I
shots.
use. Yeah, exactly. So I use 14 Thunderers in the frigate with the Aethersphere engine works, or Aethersphere, whatever it's called, the one that allows you to
Aethersphere
reach
endurance. Yeah.
There you go. So on the frigate, because a few people reached out to me after the news of my win at CCBB, and basically, why did you use the engine works on the frigate and not on the Ironclad? Well, the Ironclad's footprint is, if you put all the balloons in there, it really doubles that of the frigate.
Yeah.
So frigate with Thunder's smaller footprint, and it's less intimidating. Like, it's not all your eggs in one basket. So that's why I use it on the frigate. It works very well. It allows me to divide my army into 2 halves. Like, there was a Thunderers Commando squad and the Ironclad big drops, balloons, and companies and everything like that. So worked out for me pretty well. I also had 9 riggers, all saws, all rivet guns, no grapnels, no hooks, no volley guns, no drills. I think the trade-off is too great. Grapnels, before the FAQ, they were awesome. After the FAQ, they're just okay. It's still a 4-up to hit,
That's the
which
story
is not.
That's the story of everything of the entire book. It was pretty good.
Exactly.
Then the FAQ happened, and now it's shit.
Pre-FAQ and post-FAQ. That's the that should be in the Kharadron code in the next book. Like, there should be a footnote like post-FAQ, something like that. That would be awesome. So I went 9 riggers, main combat unit, and to a lot of people dismayed, they were shocked when they learned that I used the chemist most and the Thunderers instead of the riggers. But the thing is, with Activation Wars, and I played 2 Fleshy Records, 2 Slanesh, I didn't want to get into combat at all. I want to kill. So, why put the buffs on the riggers when Thunderers, I get an extra 14 shots? So, that's pretty good. I also went to a lot of people's surprise with 2 small squads of Wardens, 2 squads of 3, with a volley gun and a drill cannon. The thought behind that was I needed some small, fast units to grab objectives, some throwaway units that I could just feed the enemy in case of trouble, and I can sit in objectives and still do some damage from far away. So that was my thought. And since they got cheaper after the handbook, it was fit in my list. I thought about 2 small units of riggers as well, but in the end, I lacked points. So Wardens did actually pretty well. I was surprised. Killed a character with a well-placed drill shot that bounced into it. Did 3 mortal wounds to kill off a character. So that made the whole tournament for those Wardens. And to finish it off was the Ironclad. I just love that model. I cannot not include that model in the list. It's just too cool of a model. And again, Zilfin built around ships, and the Zilfin thing actually saved my tournament before it even started, because before I even got to play my first turn, I calculated the range between the edge and the model. So a Gavd bomb actually charged the Ironclad, and the only thing that saved it was the Superlive Sailors special rules. So who knew?
Out of 6-up, yeah.
Yeah, that 6-up saved my butts for the first game, actually. So that was the list. I think it was, to be honest, my goal was to go 4-2 at the event, because I knew like the top players over there, 2 of them played Deepkin. So I knew that somehow I would get to play Deepkin if I started winning early on, and then my tournament would just end there, because I just couldn't do anything about for those armies. So, but things worked out pretty well. They lost games they shouldn't, and I just moved around them and avoided them and played with matchups.
Sounds great.
Sounds pretty good.
Yep.
So, have you got any questions about his list?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I need to have a look at it.
Is it that good?
It's good. So what was your reasoning? Because usually for me, I used to chuck all my Sky Wardens in one big unit, all my engine riggers, I run 9 of each. What was your reasoning behind taking 2 units of 3? What was it, or was it 3 units of 3? I don't remember.
No, it's 2 or 3 and a big 9-man rigger unit. The Wardens, it was just extra units, basically.
Yeah.
To grab that faraway objective. Because, when you think about it, when you dropped, I put all my balloons every single game on the Ironclad, which was set up on the table. So when you drop your Wardens, you drop, really, it's 4 inches away, because only the edge of the base has to be. So it's 4 inches. Then you move 12. Then you have the option to run, which can be another 6. So now it's 22. So 22-inch range to capture an objective. That's nothing to sneeze at. And for an army that is pretty slow, so my thought was, I'm going to use those 2 units to just grab objectives. Late game objectives. Well, I'm going to run them. There you go. So that was my reasoning. I thought about a big unit, but in the end, it also gave me, it gives me more versatility. It gives me an extra attack with the, whatever it's called, the Sky Warden champion or sergeant or whatever. So and it's just more targets for the enemy, more ways of charging in, locking a unit for a turn or something like that. I used that a lot in fantasy back in the days with the gyrocopters. You just charge them in. You have like 3 or 4 of them. You charge them in separately. You lock units in. So that was the same purpose, actually. Movement and blocking enemy units.
Yeah. Sweet. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I like it.
Did you find the Ironclad had enough, put out enough firepower? Did it pull its own weight?
The age-old adage.
Yeah. It's really hard to tell, actually, because I don't expect much from ships in the shooting phase, to be honest, especially the frigate, which sucks.
No, the frigate is.
I think the best shot for the whole six game event, I think it was like 4 wounds with the frigate. That's the best I pulled. For the Ironclad, it did pretty well in a few cases, but it was not steady. It was sometimes it was nice to back like the riggers or thunderers. It was pretty much the last thing I shot. So where should I put all the remaining shots? What can I kill? What can I cripple? But it's not part of my list where I expect it to do a lot of damage. My 2 main damage givers are thunderers and riggers, because riggers can shoot quite a lot as well. So those are my 2 main units. Back to Skyhooks.
3 shots apiece.
Yeah, it's 3 shots apiece, 12 inches. Same to hit to wound, rend, and damage as thunderers. So they're pretty good, and they can charge in as well to finish off the target. So I expected those 2 units to basically be my workhorses, if you want, for my army. And then all the other units would slowly pick targets that were more relevant according to the battle plan, the turn, deployments. My 2 main units were riggers and thunders.
So the Ironclad was just there for maneuverability and such?
I think that one of the most underrated thing about the ships is it allows you to protect your troops. Because your troops are weak, they die to a swift breeze. They can hurt them so you can hurt them if they're in ships, right? So with the Ironclad, I think it's the whole combo of, I'm gonna put so much shit in that boat, I'm gonna just drop it anywhere on the map just to confuse you, so you can deploy. Okay, well, most of his army is there, so I'm just gonna drop either in front of it or away from it, and then I'm gonna redeploy all my army with the Ironclad. So the redeploy thing, the extra move it grants when you disembark, the flagship thing, it's pretty cool. The protection for your troops, So all of that, I think it all combines together to make it more affordable. Like if you would say, well, it's 3D points, and you would look at its damage output, you would say it's not a good deal. And I agree.
Yeah.
But for all it does, the movement, the disembarking, the embarking, the flagship. So I think it's a good deal. That's the way I play. If you want to play with ships, I think you should include one. And why not? It's it's still 18 wounds. I know it should be a 3-up save. It's not, but it's still 18 wounds. It's a lot to chew on. You can, in the Zilfin list, you can, even if you, like I did in my first game, I allowed it to be charged. I could retreat with it with the Zilfin move, which saved my butt. So if you play a ship list, if you want to do some movement, I think the Cloud is a good bet.
Yeah,
there's a few sort of underrated things with the Ironclad, really, with like the flag flagship rules. Just get re-rolling ones when you're Zilfin and you're
awesome.
You want to target something that doesn't fly, and you can batten its hatches to get re-roll ones to save. Quite a few different things, but would you ever consider downgrading it and having 2 frigates instead, and then using those extra 180 points elsewhere?
I don't know. And just one quick thing I forgot as well, that I actually learned, I think it's the week before the tournament, is that the Ironclad with a navigator gets to move an extra D3 inches if the Ironclad sees a navigator. I just forgot about that rule. So again, nice combo. So and it worked out a lot for me in the tournament. It allowed me to actually win a game, basically. So those extra inches you get every time you move, it adds up. As for your question, Lee, I don't know. I don't like the frigate. I like the frigate to be able to drop Thunderers. I don't like the frigate on the board.
The old Krohn trick.
The old Krohn trick, exactly. Or the Krohn maneuver, as you said, probably. But I don't know.
The Krohn drop.
The Krohn drop. I don't know. I think the Ironclad is there to stay in my list. Of course, we'll get a new book. Everything will change. So I never say never. But for now, I don't see it in my list. For me personally,
fair enough.
I could see it, but I don't see it in my.
But the thing is if you did downgrade it to a frigate, it's like 180 points it's not like if it was if it's 240 points difference, then there'd be a big difference. But 180 points, that's really only then allowing you 1 extra unit, or maybe
pretty much,
or 10. And again, where are you going to put the 10 Thunderers?
Yeah, so, and we're back to protecting troops because it allows me to put 20 companies in there that are protected. And also it reduces drops, right?
Yeah.
So and in a 6-game event, I had three drops: the frigate, the Ironclad, and the lone company. If I had like 5 or 6, I don't know if I could have put the same thing up because opponents would probably let me start. They would take their losses and then be able to double turn me. So having the low drop, being in control of the game is often worth it, I think.
Yeah,
definitely.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, on reflection, now that you've obviously gone through the tournament, and even though you won, is there anything in the list that you would consider changing?
No, nothing. To be honest, I'm really pleased about the way it performed. The list was really synergetic. Everything worked well together. And every single game, the only model really that didn't do shit the whole tournament was the Navigator. But it's to be expected, right? So no, to be honest, there isn't a single thing I would change. To be honest.
Yeah. Don't fix it if it ain't broke.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't fix it if it
I
ain't
agree.
broke.
Because I went 6-0, but I also went 3-0 at the doubles event. So that's 9-0. So that's pretty good.
I think he's going to take your title, Alex.
Yeah. No, I think he's definitely Grand Magnate right now.
Is that the new title, Grand Magnate?
I can fall pretty quickly, so I won't brag about it.
Oh, brag all you want, mate.
Yeah, earned it.
I do have this hammer, though. This trophy. You have this.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
It's cool.
We have to go over to Canada. We're going to have a game, you and me.
Sure. You'd be more than welcome.
Yeah, with all that Australian money that you earn, you bastards.
You should come in February, like inches and feet of snow. You should come. Awesome.
Yeah, I don't think you'd survive there, Alex. Come down to New Zealand and you'll just get rained on. It's not so bad.
We've got enough snow over here at the moment.
That's really weird. That's
What
not
is
natural.
lots of snow for Australia? What is lots of snow?
It snowed for about 30 seconds.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's no,
30 seconds.
I bet schools were closed, right? Everything was shut down.
Everywhere.
Oh,
Traffic was standstill. City was in anarchy. Looting.
People started eating each other.
Pretty much. We had no other option.
Do you know how many inches of snow we got last year in Canada? And in Quebec? Close to 9 meters.
What?
That's 900 centimeters.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Well, that's why you need 2 sky vessels. So you
yeah, most definitely.
Okay. Okay, so your first game was, I'm trying to remember now. Was it against Flesh Eater Courts?
Stormcast Eternals.
Stormcast. Oh, the Gav Bomb.
Yeah, the Gav Bomb, exactly.
Ouch.
It was a standard Gav Bomb list, and because all the lists were made public, I think it was 2 days before the event. They were locked, we couldn't change them, but they were public, so we could see them. And I circled Joe's list because as one of the lists that could give me fits, because it's a Gav Bomb list with 10 Evocators, 15 Sequitors, a bunch of heroes like an Arcanum, of course, Gabriel Sherhart, Castellan, Incanter with a Comet, and I think it was the Lord Relictor. And his battle line were Sequitors and 2 units of 5 Judicators. So the idea was to screen the Ironclad, but the thing is, with the Comet, with the Relictor with Translocation, and the Judicators, he could shoot down my screen fairly quickly and then charge in with his Sequitors and Evocators and just ruin my day before it even got started, right? But I don't think he deployed that well. He put his Judicators kind of far back, and he wasn't able to cast a Comet, which was a boon for me, actually. And he still tried. He put his Sequitors on the table, so only the Evocators, which I kind of find surprising. He told me after the game that he wanted to have more power, more staying power on the battlefield at the start of the game. And this is where I made the biggest mistake of the tournament. When I did my screen, I left a gap between my last model in my bubble wrap and the edge of the table. So when he dropped his Evocator, I was like, sure, yeah, charge the Arcanauts. I don't give a shit about that. But he took an Evocator and just slid the base. And he showed me so they can go through. I was like, oh, shit. And, he dropped the Evocators, and they were still about 14 inches away from the Ironclad. So you had to roll a pretty good charge. You only had 2 command points to spend. And, of course, he rolled boxcars for his charge, right? So, so he managed to put 6 in, and he did 15 wounds on the Ironclad. And that's because I rolled 3 6s for the mortal wounds. So I saved the Ironclad with the Zilfin save. Yeah. So after that, I was able to drop 8 of the 9 riggers that were more than 3 away from the Evocators, and I Zilfined the Ironclad away from combat. And then the company, the Ironclad, I buffed actually the riggers. I dropped the ship, and I used the chemist to buff the riggers because the only target of opportunity was 5 Judicators for the Thunder. So I said, well, that should be enough. And I buffed the saws, and I just killed the Evocators with everything. Killed the Judicators, and all he had left was 15 Sequitors. And so turn 2, he decided to consolidate, to pick the objectives. It was shifting objectives. And turn 2, I grabbed all 3 objectives, and then I got lucky and won priority for turn 3. And I basically tabled him, but 4 heroes. And then he failed his roll to bring back the Sequitors. It's a 5-up roll, the Hammers of Sigmar roll. When you lose a Redeemer unit, you can bring it back on a 5-up. So he failed that roll, and he didn't have anything else. So it was a big scare. The tournament was 12 points for major win, 9 for minor, 8 for draw, and or 6 for draw, I'm sorry. And you had also secret agendas. So you had to pick out of 18 agendas, 2 per game, never twice the same in the tournament. And if you succeeded in one of your agenda, you scored a point. And for each agenda that your opponent failed to complete, you get a point as well. So the maximum was 16 points. So in that game, I did a 16-0, which looked like a 0-16 early on. So that was pretty much game 1.
Okay, cool.
Close. It's very close.
Yeah, it's dicey. You know.
Very dicey. Yeah, so your opponent had a bit of luck at the beginning with the boxcars, but swings around
because if you would have rolled like a set-in or something like that, he could have put two evocators on the Ironclad maximum. So the mortal wounds would have done its damage, but you know, I wasn't afraid of that. But when I saw boxcars, oh shit. So, but things can turn pretty quickly.
And to go back, I said about if you could have a frigate instead of an ironclad and use those points elsewhere. But of course, in that situation, that frigate would have been dead.
Yep, and everything on it.
Because you would have been able to get some out, right? Because obviously you managed to get.
Well, because of the smaller base. I don't think so.
Maybe. Yeah, because they might have surrounded it more, and
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone got any questions about that game?
No, I think for me it's pretty straightforward.
I'll go more in depth for the next ones. I'll go more in depth because I did a bit quickly, but I'll go more in depth for the next ones.
That's right, man.
Yeah. Go ahead. Move on to the next one, then, I guess.
Yeah, next game was against Slanesh. It was actually a friend of mine, a buddy of mine. We played a lot. And when we saw the pairings, he basically cried. He didn't want to play me because he knew that it was a tough matchup for him. His list was 2 keepers, the epitome. I can't remember the artifacts. He had a battalion, a heroes battalion that grants him extra command point if he rolls equals or below the number of heroes. I think it's Sybarite something. Can't remember. He had 30 Demonettes, 20 Marauders, 5 Elstriders or Seekers. I can't remember which one. And he had as well 6 Fiends of Slanesh. So that was his list. Battle plan was Battle for the Pass with a triangle deployment, a new triangle deployment. So it was bad news for him because we're so far away and he wants to obviously close the gap and I don't. So it was a bad scenario for him, was a bad matchup, and he was kind of a bit nervous. So he deployed a bit gingerly. He put all his heroes in my range. So I let him go first. He moved. Couldn't do much. And my turn 1, I just dropped everything, dropped the frigate, killed both his keepers, and killed the epitome with the Ironclad.
Nice.
So no more summoning. And I was able to actually split the fire of my Thunderers between the Demonettes and the Keeper, because I think the Keeper only had like 4 wounds left. So I put half of my Thunderers in the Keeper and half in the Demonettes. And of course, the Chemist also fired the Demonettes. And
Smoked them good.
Yeah, I think he was down to 3 after the shooting phase Battleshock test. But in the Battleshock test, he rolled a 1 to bring back 6 Demonettes. So there were, but still, 9 Demonettes is better than 30, right?
Yeah.
Always.
So after that, he won priority and he charged with the Fiends. He killed a bunch of balloons, but turn 2, I basically tabled him. I think all that was left were the Demonettes, and he conceded. So it was a 14-2 game because he made both his agendas. So that's a 14-2 major victory again against my friend Marc-André.
What was his agenda?
The first one, he had to, at any point, hold 2 more objectives than I did. So I let him go first. So he ran 2 units on the edge objectives, control those. So of course, after his turn, he had 2 more than me. So that was his first agenda. And the second one was make a charge 9 inches away or more. So he succeeded with his Demonettes turn 2 before he conceded.
Right.
Just he wanted to try that charge to see if he could get that agenda. Once he had it, well, I'm going to concede it. Just 14-2 and that's it.
Yeah.
So he had both agendas.
Yeah. That first agenda, I think, Battle for the Path is a common one that people pick that agenda for because there's those 2 empty objectives in the middle.
Exactly.
Basically achieve it quite early on if you want to.
Exactly.
Okay. So
All right.
Nice.
yeah. I
Any
mean that's
question, guys?
that's a fairly straightforward game, really, I think.
Well,
Yeah.
they
You
were
rolled
all
it.
pretty straightforward. They were all pretty straightforward. As you'll see, if you thought that this one was quick, wait till game 4.
Oh, no. Can't get any worse, can it?
All right.
Oh, poor bugger. I do have a question. So I mean, just with those 2 games and all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that you could answer this at the end, but like in regards to Slaanesh and Flesh Eater Course stuff like that, like do you really think that KO can really sort of perform well in the current meta as you see it? You know, because obviously with the return of shooting, I think that KO is going to have a real good step up. What do you think? Like because especially with Slaanesh being so reliant on the heroes over that, much like any other army, and we can just snipe them off, and just with the weight of fire from, say, a big block of Arcanauts, you know, for firing off two shots each on their pistols. Do you think that we can do well?
Yeah, I listened to a podcast by the Honest Wargamer, and they had a segment on the CCBB, and I think the host said, "Is KO the cure to Slaanesh poison?" And I could add Flesh Eater Courts poison like that, and I really think it is. I really think it is because well, if you go with Zilfin, it's the cure to Flesh Eater Courts. That's not even an issue. Slaanesh, I think,
because they rely so much on the heroes.
Yes, and flying heroes.
Big flying monster heroes.
There you go.
Which Zilfin does perfect against.
Oh yeah.
Big time. So I really think that it can be an answer. And right now, I think the big 3-headed monster of AoS meta is probably Flesh Eater Courts, Slaanesh, and Skaven. So I think out of those 3 matchups, I think 2 of 3 were pretty good against, and Skaven, it's dicey usually. I'm
interested to hear about that.
Yeah.
Well, it was my closest game by far. I won by a point on turn 5 with a 1 model. So, as you'll see pretty soon.
Sweet, awesome.
Just generally speaking, though, with the activation wars and things, just our sheer amount of shooting. Just well, I was like, you can go first in combat, but I'm just going to shoot you before that.
Not only it's a perfect counter, but no one expects to play KOs in a 6-game event for any significant games like Game 4, Game 5, Game 6. You don't prep for KOs. You prep for Flesh Eater Course. You prep for Gloomspite. You prep for Skaven. You prep for Stormcast. You don't prep for KOs. So a lot of tricks we have, like the Fleet Master thing, the Air Shock Earbuster, all those tricks, all those nifty tricks, the Krohn maneuver with the Thunderer, those nifty tricks, you don't expect them, right? So those are nice little tricks we can pull off in pretty much every game.
Although maybe people will be expecting them a bit more now.
They should.
Yeah.
They should. As they should.
I do have one more, just a general question, not about that game, but just generally. With the Sky Wardens, did you always put them in the Ironclad, or did you ever maybe sometimes put one in the frigate, one unit in the frigate, or just always in the Ironclad? Yeah?
Always in the Ironclad.
In my prep games, always in the Ironclad. In my prep games, I tried it, and it's okay, I guess. But I think the main reason is when you drop him off in the frigate that deep strikes, you lose the 12-inch movement. You lose that. So by leaving both squads in the Ironclad, you still have plenty of mobility, and both of their guns. I won't count the Vulcanizer pistol, but the volley gun and the drill, they're both 24 inches, right? So you shouldn't be having any problems of choosing your target with those two squads. So I just think you lose a lot by deep striking balloons, and the same thing goes for riggers as well. Because you drop them off, they're right where you want to be, but they're still 9 away, and that's a long charge. And in the KO army, CPs are scarce, so I don't want to spend CPs to roll a charge, especially 9-inch charge.
And that's why people used to have grapnels on riggers a lot, because obviously it makes the charge better. But
but then again, you lose a saw, you lose a pistol, and it's a 4-up. So you have to put 2 at least just to be sure. And then you lose 2 saws. You lose 2 pistols.
Sometimes more. The pistols, I think a lot of people don't think about losing. People think, I lose the saws. But the pistols, I mean, if you take out 2, that's 6 shots.
It's 3 shots each,
It's
basically
Thunderer. Yeah, it's a buffed up Thunderer.
But the other thing is, it's if you send the riggers in turn 1, turn 2, they're going to be dead.
But
it's kind of a thing. Just because you can do it doesn't necessarily mean you should.
No, and if you do it and they're dead, that means your opponent focused on them. You still have the Thunderers, the Ironclad, companies. So you're not like naked. You still have stuff. You still have shooting.
Lots more threats.
There you go. I agree.
Yeah, it's similar to the Mornar issue, isn't it? It's just because you can charge a unit of riggers in turn 1 doesn't necessarily mean you should spend lots of points on doing it.
Exactly. And just because you can take first turn doesn't mean you have to take first turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Always go second.
Yep. If you can, always do. I went once first in the tournament. It was great. It was awesome. But only one.
It was awesome for that turn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because for funny you say that actually, because a couple of years ago I was playing KO, and there was a game against the guy who ended up winning the tournament, and because like pretty much the entire event I was taking second turn as you do, Zilf and Clown card booth, but this guy had a Zeech summoning change host, the HP, and I was like, do you know what? I'll give you first turn. And he just blocked me out. He zoned me out of the entire board. And I was like,
there you go.
I was, and even to this day, he gives me shit. So saying like, oh, you should have taken first turn. I'm like,
as you should.
Yeah. So I feel that if you're coming up against against an army which can do that heavy summoning in the first turn,
I don't know. I
think picture. I think I'm coming out of signal. Here we go.
Oh,
right. I better head back into my house.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like Fresh Heated Courts. If you can take out their Archregents and their dragons,
Yep.
turn one and remove, then I mean, often it basically comes down to how your opponent deploys, really,
Exactly, and the battle plan as well.
doesn't it? But yeah, definitely. But the great thing about Zilfin, and especially if you have Fleet Master, is you can make that decision after deployment.
Yep.
There you go. You have options.
Yeah. Okay.
Versatility, options.
I don't know what Hayden's doing. I don't know if he'd finished asking if you're talking or.
I'm done.
I'm back.
On to
Hello.
game 3.
So, had you finished what you were saying, Hayden? Or
Yeah. So
half of it,
for finish what I was saying, I was just leaving the garage because my garage is really crappy Wi-Fi. So
Okay.
Okay. So the thing about going first, so I had I made a weekend, only a 1-day event, so we won't talk about it too much. But the one game I lost was the game that I went first, and in retrospect, I shouldn't have done it. So it's basically.
Yeah.
It is a big trap.
Okay, so
KO cannot withstand double kill.
game 3, was that the Skaven game?
No, it was the first Flesh Eater Courts game against Curtis. We played. It's funny because there were 5 Flesh Eater Court players. One was undeclared. He didn't have any Gristlegore or whatever. One was Gristlegore, which was Curtis, and 3 were Blisterkin. And I think that Blisterkin is going to be the new shit for Flesh Eater Courts. I'm telling you.
Oh hell yeah! It's so
coming.
good.
It's coming. So Curtis.
I mean, just with all the movement shenanigans that they've got, I mean, they're going to be really big. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been saying this. Movement is the way you win games in AoS, and Blisterkin has plenty of it.
Yeah.
So Curtis had, I think it was 2 kings on dragons on Geist. He had a regent, he had a crypt gas, he had a gold patrol, 2 squads of 10, and 1 big unit of 40 goals. And the battle plan was 3 places of power, which is awesome for KOs with all those mighty heroes we have. So it was,
and all those wizards too,
and all those wizards too as well. So that was a nice one. So I let him go first. He moved the dragon on the left objective, far away from everything else. And I was gonna allow him to have that objective for now. I was concentrating on 2 objectives, the middle one and the right one. He took the center one with his other dragon, and the region was just a bit too far away, so couldn't claim it. And his big goal unit also went on. He summoned his units, and he summoned quite defensively. I expected him to summon behind my lines to try to lock me up, but he summoned 10 goals behind a rock on the right-hand side, close to the objective, and 2 squads of flayers and a Vargold on the left side to back up his other dragon. So his summon was, to me, kind of wasted because it wasn't blocking me, it wasn't annoying me. It was something I had to kill later on. And since he only had crypt flayers to summon, I like playing things against my Zilfin list. So I didn't mind at all seeing flyers. So my turn 1, again, I dropped everything, and he rolled pretty hot for his saves. He cast his 5-up save. I think it's something Shroud or something, or Dark something. I don't remember the name, but it was a 5-up save for his big dragon. I killed his Archregent with Skyhooks. He was down to a wound, so there's no training with some Archregents. So I killed him that way.
Nice.
And I put the engine riggers, the pistols, the ironclad, and I think the volley guns on the dragon killed the dragon. And the Thunderers plus frigate with my lucky 4 wound damage shot for my frigate Killed, I believe, was close to 22, 23 goals. I used a CP to rerolling once they hit for my Thunderers. And then he didn't remove goals from the front, so my Chemist was in range. Killed about 4 goals, and the rest just fled because of the earbuster to my opponent's dismay. So I basically killed everything except one dragon in his summon, and I took control turn 2 of both objectives. Never surrendered them, and I just moved slowly. And he couldn't move his dragon, right? Because otherwise, he would have lose control of the objective, and he would fail to score any points. So he had to leave the dragons there. So I just caught up with him. It was 2 rounds of shooting, and I think the best thing when he had a chance, when I couldn't, when he rolled for double turn because I rolled before, he charged with his flayers against my wardens, thunderers, and riggers, and also he clipped my ironclad as well. I rolled for Sky Mine, did 6 mortal wounds to the flayers, plus 1 for the thunderers, so 7 mortal wounds. That was down to 5, and the ironclad actually, because I retreated the thunderers, and the ironclad actually did exactly 5 wounds to the flayers in close combat. So I killed the flayers in melee with an ironclad. That was
Nice.
the moment of the weekend. So so it was over, I think, by turn 4, because I had to move away and I had to reach his dragon, finally kill it, and that was it. It was another. I think it was a 15-1 that game. I'm not sure, but I think he succeeded in one of his agendas, if I remember correctly. So it was another major win for me.
Cool. So I didn't catch that at the beginning. Did you get the double turn from round 1 into round 2? Did you say, or
no? I had it 2 to 3, and he had it 3 to 4.
Okay.
So the double turn, I thought I would kill the dragon with a double turn because I was far away. I took the turn, but I failed to kill it. I killed it turn 4 with much of his army that was left standing. So the only thing that I didn't mention was that the only thing that my navigator did in the whole tournament was to lose 3 wounds to some ghouls that ambushed him, and before they were shot down by Iconauts. And he couldn't kill, of course, a single goal because, why would a navigator kill something, right? So that was it. So that he captured an objective for the whole game, and that was his role for the 6-game event. Awesome.
Okay. It's interesting. You said about the taking the ghouls off and not taking them off from the front, so that the earbuster, so you could still shoot the chemist. Because I had the exact opposite thing happen to me at the same weekend, and I don't think my opponent even realized exactly what they were doing. I was like, "Oh, that's so annoying."
Because the range is small. It's a 10-inch range weapon. You're 9 away.
Yeah.
So it's when I see my player moving from the back, I was like, thank you so much for the right model.
Yeah, and because the earbuster is so powerful, just where they take their wounds from can have such a massive difference. Then
exactly. And you realize that, much like pretty much every opponent that played, you realize after, oh man, I should have removed those models. Well, yeah, but sorry about that.
People just aren't ready for it.
No, exactly. Same as Fleetmaster. Don't see it coming. Even though our lists are public, they don't see them because they see KOs. Oh, well, I'm not going to bother with them because they're not going to do well or something because they suck. The internet says that they suck, so they must.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. Okay. You guys got any questions about the game?
No, he did really well.
I mean, the general story of all the games seems to be let them go first and do nothing, and then go forward and shoot them.
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Almost
had a game plan for the tournament, and it worked.
Yeah, that was the game plan.
Yep. Okay. So round 4 then. Round 4.
Yeah, massacre.
The massacre. Against a great player. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. So obviously those first 3 games would have been day 1.
Yeah, that was day 1.
Yeah. So you at the end of that day, I guess you were feeling pretty happy being 3-0.
I was surprised, but again, consider the matchups. I was, not that surprised because Flash, even Stormcast to a certain extent. I know I did a big mistake. It almost cost me, but other than that, there were the lists. I had a pretty good feel about all those lists. And I knew in advance who was my matchup for Game 4. It was a buddy from Quebec, so we knew each other. And he's a great player. I had an event in April last year, a 40-player event. He came in second, and so I knew he was a good player. He played Fleshy Records, so I knew that it was going to be an easy matchup. It wasn't going to be an easy matchup. Turned out the opposite. That's because he pretty much knew everything about the army except for Fleet Master, and that single thing cost him the whole game, turn 1. So it was focal points, so the 5 objectives, and I kind of baited him on thing because I said, well, okay, so you can run with your dragon, your range. Got the cogs as well. His list was 2 dragons, 2 kings on a Geist, another riderless Terrorgeist, Arc Regent, Gold Patrol, 3 times 10 goals, the gas, and that's it. And he had the cogs for extra movement. And he was not part of a grand court or whatever you call it, like Gristlegore or Blisterkin. He played bland, and his delusion was to attack twice, once per turn or something like that. And I dropped the Ironclad first, and I said, okay, so how far can you move with your dragon? Okay, so that's your move, plus you run and charge, plus the cogs. Okay, so you have like a 34-inch trench range. So yeah, something like that. So I measured really away. Okay, so I can't, because it's a 15-inch deployment zone. So I can't hide my Ironclad. So might as well make that charge the longest for you. So I deployed on the edge of the battlefield as far away as I could. So he measured all his movement. Okay, so what's your range on your Ironclad? Okay, so that's 8-inch move plus D3 plus the 24-inch range with the torpedoes. So, and he put his 2 dragons in front of his army. So I was like, oh, thank you so much. So, and he says to me, so I'm going to take turn 1, I guess. Oh, no, I'll take this one. Thank you very much. Redeploy the Ironclad as forward possible as I could. Dropped everything, dropped the Thunderers, killed both his dragons, killed the Arc Regent, and I almost killed his other dragon as well, left it with 2 wounds, and that's because my 3 Wardens who made their charge, my Riggers failed their charge. The Wardens, the guy with the pike, rolled 3 2s to hit the dragon, so it was down to, I think I killed a few goals because when your terror guys get killed, they explode. So I think he went down to 24 goals, 2 wounds on his dragons, and his gas courtier, and that was his whole army when he took his first turn. So I killed 1,000 points of models, plus I killed off all his summons. So that was a good turn 1. That was a good example of when to take the
It's
first.
all right. It's all right.
It was okay. It was okay. It was okay. So, and he came on board. He failed his charge with his flanking goals. We rolled for priority. I won priority, so we said, well, that's it. That was a good game. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We basically played it. And it was 16-0.
Poor bugger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you find that your... Sorry. Did you find your Flesh Eater Court's opponents generally deployed their regents and their dragons near their terrain piece?
The regent, yes. Both times it was right near the coven or throne or whatever it is. And but the dragons, no, not so much. I think, is it only Foot Kings that can, and Regent that can use the free CP summoning? or is it for all fleshy court heroes? I'm not sure.
It's just it's any arch regent, I think. So I think the arch regents on Terra guys can do it as well.
Okay.
But
Archery's
with
not
the
going
type
to
of
guys,
piece
but I
that
get
is-
what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I don't know.
The type of piece that is, they don't necessarily. Or I mean, that piece has got other things it needs to do. It doesn't have to sit. They
Yeah.
don't necessarily want it babysitting
Yeah.
a terrain piece, do they?
But no, he deployed his dragons forward. No, it wasn't part of their strategy. I think I know there were 3 other fleshy court players in the tournament, but most of them played Blister. Well, all of them played Blisterkin, and I only had like 2 heroes, like a regent and a Vargals. That's pretty much all they had, and they had like a big unit of 12 players or 9 players or something like that, which is actually I like very much, because once you kill a dragon or 2 dragons or the regent, you're left with nothing substantial in the army. So there's a lot of points invested in those heroes and their summon, because even though they're 420 points, it's 420 plus the unit it summons. So when you kill a dragon, it's 560 actually.
Yeah.
So you kill 2, it's 1,000 points worth of models that you lose with 2 models. So
Makes
that's
target
only
priority very easy.
Yeah, exactly. And with Zilfin, that was just an easy matchup.
Yeah.
Easy.
Well, I don't think there's really anything else to say about that game, is there? I mean, it was very short.
And my opponent, told me I knew pretty much all your tricks except for Fleetmaster. When you drop that Ironclad, I was like, well, I'm in the clear. Sure, he might kill a dragon with Thunders, but I'm in the clear. But just the redeploy the Ironclad, he didn't see that one coming, and it costed him.
Yeah.
So, with the way the tournament worked, you knew your matchup the night before.
Yeah.
And of course, all the lists were public, so that's quite interesting. Then for your 4th game, you can actually sort of really sort of delve in, and if you don't know much about your opponent's army, you can have a look and see what they do.
Yeah, we knew the opponent. Yeah. We knew the battle plan. We knew everything, so it wasn't a surprise.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So he'd be kicking himself for not checking what Fleetmaster did then.
Well, he told me the morning, because we had dinner together Saturday night. I told me I'm going to read up on your Overlords quite a bit. Oh, sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
And the morning after, he told me, well, I haven't had time to read that much, only 5 minutes. So I think you might have skipped like the whole commentary thing, Fleetmaster.
Yeah.
But small details. Details can really make something works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your 5th game then, that was the Skaven one, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That was the toughest game, and to be quite honest, I should have lost this one. I won that game because my opponent forgot I had a 10-man company in my Ironclad. Still, that's basically it. It was a hard-fought game that could have been over turn 1 for me in my favor, but because of his Screaming Bell, it wasn't. His list was atypical for Skaven, I think, in some ways. He had Tank Wall with 4 Flamers, so a shooty Tank Wall. He had a Warlock Bombardier, the one from the Karen Empire box. Yeah, that hero.
Yep.
He had a Screaming Bell, Grayson and Screaming Bell. He had 3 units of 20 Clan Rats as battle line. He had 40 Plague Monks, which is not that uncommon. And he had a big unit of 9 Jezzails. So that was his army, which is it's okay, it's good. And the player was also a KO player, so he knew about pretty much everything. So there was no surprising him. It was a good player as well. Was a very fun guy, great player. They were all great players as well. All my 6 games were awesome games, awesome players. And the thing is, I deployed the Ironclad on the flank. It was total conquest. Like 4 objectives, you score an extra point if you steal the objective from your enemy. So I dropped the Ironclad with everything on it on the left flank, like alone. And he dropped his Plague Monks, he dropped his Grey Silver Screaming Bell, and I was like, cool. Just, I deployed it far enough away that it couldn't charge me. So I said, run, bring it forward. I'm just going to drop everything, and I'm going to kill your Plague Monks. And I'm going to use my Thunderers to kill your Giselles, right? So I'm going to take out your 2 big units, turn 1. Tank Wall doesn't scare me that much because its range is so limited. The Clan Rats don't scare me at all because they're Clan Rats. And, that was pretty much it. If I could just control those 2 units, it would be game over. But I let him take first turn. I didn't redeploy the Sky Vessel because it was right where I wanted to be. He casts a Geminis on the Ironclad. Well, it hits the Ironclad, so -1 to hit. And he rings the bell, and he gets a -1 to hit in the 26-inch bubble.
Ooh.
So now my plan goes, okay, so now I can just drop shit in front of his Plague Monks. My Ironclad is at -2 to hit, and all the dudes inside are at -1 to hit. So I have to make a quick decision because he redeploys his Giselles via his Gnawholes from one side to the other, kills my foot company that was on my objective on the other side of the board, which I didn't care that much for anyway. And but now the left flank, which I thought was pretty much well in hand, is now I'm in deep shit because I wouldn't be able to kill all those Plague Monks, and even if 20 survived, 20 would overwhelm me if I didn't get priority. So, and I don't want to be in a situation where I need to have priority. I want to be in a situation where it's nice to have priority, but I don't want to count on that, to bank on that in order to win the game. So I didn't do the whole tournament. I ran away with the Ironclad. I ran away, and I just, if your Plague Monks are going to follow me, I'm going to make sure that your Plague Monks will never fight the whole game. Like, I can outrun you, and, he has to stay on the objectives or at least close to it so he can control them. So it was until turn 3 that I dropped my models from the Ironclad because I won priority from 2 to 3. And it was near the center of the board. So now I could attack all 3 objectives except the one where his Plague Monks were. And there was a big pyramid that he couldn't climb. Like, it would take the whole game just to climb and just to descend. So I basically blocked his Plague Monks away. Now, it was after 2 turns, it was 6-1 for him, objective-wise, because he took all 3. So I knew I had to do something quick. And by winning priority, I was able to seize one, and my Thunderers turn 1 did their job, killed their Giselles, and he made a huge mistake turn 1 because he had 20 Clan Rats, he had 9 Giselles, I dropped the Thunderers, I killed 6 Giselles with my Thunderers, I rolled badly, and he rolled pretty well for his saves, and the Chemist was out of range, so he fired at the Clan Rats instead, as did the Frigate with his Carbine, so I killed a few Clan Rats, popped a few with Battle Shock in the shooting phase, and he had only 1 CP, and I said, Battle Shock test for Clan Rats. Oh, I'm gonna use a CP use CP. And Battle Shock test for your Giselles. He was like, oh man, I forgot. I only have 1 CP. So he lost his Giselles on the Battle Shock test. He shouldn't have taken anyway at the first place. So it was a close game. I took control of the game in the 3rd turn where my riggers were able to disembark, charge the Clan Rats, but because, and that's something I forgot, he used Tenko's ability, so even though he had no more CPs, his Warplock Engineer could immune his Clan Rats from Battle Shock. So I thought I had all 3 objectives, but because he had that ability, it allowed him to keep that objective for an extra turn. And it really came down to turn 5. It was 8-8. He took the priority, and he moved his Plague Monks so he could Congo line them and grab 2 objectives. And then I had moved back the Ironclad with the 10-man volley gun company inside because one of my agendas was to keep a battle line unit alive. So they were in the boat. just to be alive, just to score a point. And I counted the models, and he had 12 on the upper objective and 11 models on the lower objective. So he scored 3 points because he retook the upper one. It was 11-8. So in my turn, I had the 2 right objectives that were never challenged the whole game. And by disembarking the company, 10 models, Zilfin moved the frigate, and then having them run an extra 6 plus D3 with the navigator, I was able to put all 10 Arconauts and boat ships on the objective, where we had 11 models on, and I had 12. So by winning back this objective, I scored 4 points, winning 12-11 by 1 model, bottom turn 5.
Nice.
So it was,
That's great.
because of the stupid bell thing, it should have been close, but in that case it was, and it was really close. We made mistakes because it was a long game. We were tired. It was the 8th game of the weekend. I was running on fumes. He was too. It was a great. He won best chaos. So awesome. Hey there. So that was a great game. We enjoyed it. We both enjoyed it. It was. That's the way about That's the thing about the scoring system. It was a great, as close a game as you could imagine. It was still a 16-0 because it was a major victory. It couldn't get his agendas. I did mine. It was a 16-0, winning by a point, bottom turn 5, by 1 model. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very close game. But I mean, the key thing was really that you stuck in there. And a lot of your opponents on the day before were conceding and stuff early on.
Yeah.
Whereas you fought at it, and pulled it back.
And the thing is, I always say to my friends is, the game lasts 5 turns, right? So it's okay if turn 1, turn 2, you're still positioning yourself. You're still playing the long game because if you can score points, and there are some scenarios where if you score points, turn 4, turn 5, you score way more points. So play the game. It's okay to be down after a turn, after 2. It's okay to be down. Just it's better to run away, live for another day, and just try something. At last year's CCBB, I lost the game because I was too cocky. I tried to kill, and it backfired, and I lost the game because of that. So I'm trying to, not be too aggressive sometimes. And I think
that always gets me.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to do because you want to do it.
Well, I really like what you did with the Ironclad, baiting people out and just running around, keeping them chasing you around the whole board.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's awesome. It was improvisation 101, right? Just my plan is just won't work because of that stupid bell, so might as well do something else.
Yeah,
it worked.
I haven't experienced the new Skaven book yet, but I probably will soon.
Oh, it's a tough nut to crack. It's a tough nut to crack.
Yeah.
Everything is good in the book. They have an answer to everything. So even though their weakness would be bravery, I think it's the bravest army in the AoS. You get so many things that auto pass,
got 3 or 4 ways to get better.
Oh yeah, exactly.
They can afford. They have answers to everything, and they can afford to put them in the list as well.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
totally agree.
Yep. But did the Norholes come into play much in that game?
Only first turn. Where he deployed actually is Gisele's way out of range, both for me and him, on one side. And when I gave him first turn, he redeployed them on the other side to be in range of my foot company that was actually blocking the other Norhole. He killed those models, so he forgot on his second turn when he won priority to deep strike tank hole with the Norhole. He wanted to put him on my objective that was now clear. He forgot that, but it didn't matter because otherwise I would have probably killed tank hole and claimed back the objective. That would be an extra
Mm.
point for me. So in the end, it didn't matter. But
Yeah.
it could have mattered. Could have mattered.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds like
So
your closest game then.
Yeah.
Very
By
close.
far.
yeah. So going into game 6, how are you feeling up to that?
Tired.
Final game.
Oh,
Everything.
yeah. I was tired. I had a few beers the night before, so
That's always the story. Though.
I was. I don't know. I was running on fumes. I couldn't think straight, especially after that Skaven game where it was really challenging.
Yeah.
Drawing up new strategies as the game went along. So, I was ready to go home, back to the kids, the family. But I had one more, and it was against Slanesh. So we were the only two players with all wins after 5 games. So we had to play each other. It was actually Star Strike, but we played it wrong. We forgot the center objective, so we played with 2 objectives. Yeah, it would have been probably a 16-0 if we had played correctly, but still. His list was, I think, was a better list than my friend's list. He had 3 ARPs, and Rapturous, Enchantress, whatever you want to call them. He had, sorry? Okay. He had a Keeper of Secrets. He had an Epitome. He had 2 packs of 30 Demonettes. He had 5 Elstriders. And he had a few Endless Spells, if I remember correctly. Again, I let him start. It was we both deployed on flanks, hoping to cover as much ground as possible. He went first. He moved pretty much everything away. Actually, shot. I forgot that the harps shoot. They shoot 30 inches away, something like that. So he did quite a few wounds on the Ironclad, to my surprise. And that also generates summoning points, which would come in handy in the second turn. And first turn, I also divide my force. I go with the Thunderers on the 30 Demonette units. On my left flank, I go with the rest, the Ironclad on the right flank. I also had a Chariot, an Exalted Chariot, by the way. So I killed that Chariot. I killed the Keeper Secrets with hooks, with volley guns, whatever, pistols, and the Riggers. I managed to kill quite a few Demonettes, and I finished them off charging them, the long charge. The Thunderers also take care of business. I use a CP to reroll once to hit against the Demonettes. I kill close to 20-something Demonettes, and then the Chemist does its job, kills the rest. So it was down to 9 models after turn 1. And he won priority, and he was doubled because I killed so many heroes and he did so many wounds. He was able to spend 40 Demonettes back, and so we rolled for his objective, and it landed like on the other side of his board. No one was even close. We rolled a 666, I think, objective. And so we had a choice because there were no heroes near the objective. They were all behind a shed, like a building that could see me, but I couldn't see them. So he summoned. He said, "Well, I'm gonna just drop all the Demonettes on that flank and hope that the next one will land close to it." So fine. So he overwhelmed me, and he made both of his charges. So 40 Demonettes against Arcanauts and Skywardens. It's not a good matchup for us. So he killed a lot of models, and then on my second turn, my objective came in on his side. So it was right in the middle of his Demonettes, and I said, well, if I just capture this one, turn 3, because turn 2 I was out of range, I could have Zilfin moved it, but I didn't want to use it just to be sure. I wanted to kill his heroes, right? Because if I killed his heroes, it was game over. He couldn't summon, and his Demonettes couldn't run all the way to the other objective. So I killed his heroes. That's what I did. And after turn 2, roll for priority, I got it. I had pretty much nothing left but my Ironclad and maybe like a company or something that could challenge his Demonettes. So I won priority, grabbed the objective, and then we said, well, I'm not going to go for yours. You won't go for mine. It's going to end up a tie objective. I killed more points than you, so it's going to be a minor victory. So we agreed on a minor victory, 11-5, because we both could make our agendas. So we get that point. And for him, I could have tried like really hard to Zilfin move the Thunderers back and maybe overwhelm his objective on turn 5, but I didn't want to risk it because now he had the opportunity to do a double turn. So if he would do a long charge, it would maybe slingshot his Demonettes and be able to grab my objective and lose that way. So by having a minor victory, I was assured best overall, and he was assured best second overall. So we called it 11-5. So we both agreed that, I'm not going to win this. You will. So I'm going to, cut my losses and, I'm going to take second place. So it was a quick game that was decided against by objectives. That kind of scenario can swing on a dime when the objective drops away from you or close to you. And that's a perfect example of it.
Yeah.
So that was it. That was the whole mixer.
And that game you only played so the middle objective never came down. You forgot to.
Yeah, we actually both forgot about it. I blame this on the beer. So yeah, we just forgot about. We actually played. We played Gift from Heaven actually.
Coming up.
Right. Gift from Heaven.
So, but it was. If I would have won Priority on turn 2, it would have been game over, because he only had his Outstriders and 3 harps and his Epitome, and I had way enough shooting to kill everything. But that's priority for you.
You did enough. You won the game. You won the whole event.
Oh, exactly. And that's when I said I was too aggressive, too cocky at last year's event. That was the moment I reminded myself, well, you got this. You have this. You have it won. Don't lose it, idiot. So I just played not to lose it. Worked out fine.
And again, when you were shooting the Demonettes, just I assume you must have took models from the back again, so you could shoot the chemist afterwards.
But you know why? Because his banner was up front. You don't want to lose the banner.
Nah.
Yeah.
So when I saw the banner up front, well, there you go. I knew I had this.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing to look out for actually when you disembark from the ship, is if you put the chemist in range of something with a banner.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Something I'll look out for in the future actually.
Yep.
The hot tip.
And the thing I did with the Thunderers and Frigate, it's something I practiced over the past few weeks, prepping for this event, was the way you drop. Because a lot of people asked me on Messenger, how did you use the Thunderers? How did you deploy them and everything? And I answered a few of them privately. I'm going to do it publicly, I guess. Usually I put the Frigate down, and I put the Thunderers on the back edge of the frigate, so they could be as far away as possible from the enemy. And I would put the chemist up, or bring the chemist forward at the 9-inch line. Because in that way, if I don't kill everything, if there are survivors, it's a longer charge for the Thunderers if they want to make it in, if the enemy wants to charge the Thunderers. And if you do so, you have to charge the chemist and the frigate. So that means -1 attack for a few models because of the chemist. It means maybe striking last because of the frigate. And it means an extra mortal wound maybe from the Thunderers. And if you strike last with the frigate, I can retreat the Thunderers. So it's a nice setup where you use rules combined together to mitigate damage in any way you can. And that's what you have to do with KOs when you prepare to receive a charge. Actually, how can you mitigate damage? And I think that was, I think that I played pretty well. It came up once at the doubles event, but never in the full event. But I really saw the potential where full Plague Monks charged in struck last. I retreated my Thunderers to save them. They were -1 attack because of the chemist. So, it's something I practice a bit in my prep games.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's a good tip.
Well, I mean, I might try the MSU that you're doing is really interesting. The multiple small units.
Yep.
I might try that at the next event.
Well, you should. Love it.
Yeah. I mean, but the trade-off with that is that your drops are, well, depending on whether or not you're all chucking everything in the ships, it's going to be higher. And drops, movement, mortal wound output, and magic other things that we need in the meta to be competitive.
I agree.
Well, my current drops are at like 6, so I don't think it can get worse than that.
You're like, my Beast of Chaos list that I'm playing at the moment is like 3 or 4 drops.
Good. That's awesome. I did
I'm like...
did a quick math, and out of 42 lists, I would outdrop all of them but 5.
Yeah.
So out of 42, I checked that I would outdrop them, all of them except 5. So I was expecting to basically having the choice of first turn every single game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and always, if I have one piece of advice for fellow admirals, go second when you want. When you can, go second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Protect your ship.
It's always the option to be able to be able to choose.
Not many armies can withstand 2 rounds of shooting for a KO army.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I always used to do. I always used to bank on getting the double turn as well. But either then, you have to be able to position yourself so that if you don't get that double turn, you still have contingency.
Exactly.
Because otherwise, they're just going to push forward and smash in the face.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
No, I hope for it. I don't prepare for it.
Plan for it.
Exactly. So if I get a double turn, fine, that's good. I don't expect it. So I always play like I'm not getting the next turn. That's how I play. I always play.
Yeah.
It's the safe option.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with the range we have, we can still benefit from it even if we don't fully prepare for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Lee?
Yeah. I think it's really interesting. Doing some similar things to what I've been trying out recently, some different things. It's interesting because I've basically been trying to find a list for a while now that kind of makes use of the Endrins from Zilfin and Fleet Master on a second ship. So some ways you can kind of split your forces, and it sounds like that is what you were doing in many ways, having the little 3-man units of wardens. They're really useful.
They are.
Yeah.
Right.
And now that they're cheaper, it just means that there's more reason to take them.
Exactly.
Because as for me, I always just use them in that block of 9 purely for the ranged output.
Yeah.
So I'd have the 3 dual cannons buffed up by chemists would just delete shit.
Yeah.
And same because I used to take 3 volley guns as well, and just I used to go around sniping off bloodthirsters and Lords of Change and shit like that, and it was great. But I'm interested to see. Well, because obviously it's worked out for you. I'm interested to see if other people take that up and that becomes a thing. Because even one dual cannon, if it manages to hit, is still a fucking evil piece.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
I don't know.
Even a one volley gun is really good.
Yeah, and I could see a big 9-man unit of wardens with the drills, and I could see that.
It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. Maybe.
But yeah, it's good.
It was interesting because in the list I was running recently, I was running the little 3-man units with a grapnel.
Okay.
Because I had only the one ship, so they were always dropping 9 inches away from the enemy or 12 inches away, wherever I dropped them, and So it was just and because there's two of them, you're rolling 2 4+, and potentially you can then just get one just to sneak onto an objective somewhere or something.
Yeah.
But because obviously you didn't really need the grapnels, because if you're having them in the ironclad that isn't dropping, then you can run them. You get the 4-inch disembark and then you can make use of their movement.
Yeah, it's almost like a it's almost like a mobile gun bunker.
It is.
You know, because you've got all that firepower in that single spot, which you aren't dropping. So I think actually, now I think of it, it's actually quite good, because if you're dropping the frigate somewhere, but you've still got a big threat on the board, so then they have to prioritize, right, so I have to prepare myself for the frigate dropping down somewhere, as well as this big fucking boat with all these dudes in it. Yeah,
exactly.
So because the old way that the Clown K used to work, when you used to grapnel off engine riggers, then they'd all just swarm to that area, and so and you've got all your eggs in one basket. But now you've split it into two. I think that's quite good. I think it's quite good.
That was the goal. That was the goal. And Lee, just to get back to your 3-man warden unit, with the grapnel, I can see that, but it's still a 4-up on 1 die. I don't like to bet on that. Yeah, it can be nice. It can work out, and if it works for you, fine. But again, you lose a gun, you lose a volley gun, you lose a drill actually. So I don't like that. I think the balloons, I think the ships, especially the Zilfin list, they have more than enough movement or movement shenanigans or ways to get objective. You don't need grapnels. If you play a different skyport, then I can see the use. Or if in our next book, they change that up to be more reliable, I can see grapnels coming back. But for me, I played against a friend in Montreal who was a member of our boards, Marc-André Fecteau, plays Mornar, and he uses grapnels on the unit. Again, you lose 2 saws, you lose 2 rivet guns. I don't know.
6 shots. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tough price to pay. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, the thing I was finding,
to be honest, there was not a single instance where I said, "Boy, do I need grapnels." In my 9-game event, there was none.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's
what I was about to say. Was when I got the grapnels off and I did something with them. I mean, they did do things that were good, but it was only ever a bonus. Like, it never won me a game, because, like you said, you can't rely on them because it's a 4+.
Exactly.
So it was only ever like if I get on that objective, then I win by more points, or it never won the game. And then there were some games where they did nothing.
And Lee, I'm sure you'll have a game where it will win you the game. But you also have games where failing it will lose you a game.
Yeah.
So it's dicey, and I don't like things to be dicey.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah. But the difference is whether you have 2 ships or not, because what makes them really work for you is having that second ship, so they have that movement, as opposed to if you put them in the frigate, then they can't move after disembarking. And it's the big difference.
I don't see the use of balloon boys on a ship that drops. You sacrifice just too much movement. I don't see it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I definitely prefer Thunders on a ship. You don't need a charge. You just shoot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With a nice range as well. 18 inches is a pretty good range.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get stuff hidden behind the screens and further back.
I still like the Thunder Slingshot. You didn't have to use that at all in this.
I used it once. I used it once at the doubles event, and in one of the game, because it was, what is the scenario? I think it was focal points, if I remember correctly, and our opponents had like the center one, and we had to score 8 points on turn 5 to win the game. Riggers were in. My partner played Fire Slayers. He had a Berserker unit came in, and we lacked models, and I charged with it was a 7-inch charge, if I remember correctly, with the Thunderers, and my opponent who didn't know Chaos was said, "Well, why'd you do that?" "Oh, you're about to see, my friend." So I retreated them, and then they were all within the range, claimed the objective, and that won us the game.
Nice.
I did once.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. You say the Thunderer slingshot, and to be quite frank, I'll label it the Krohn maneuver, if you don't mind.
I thought the Krohn maneuver was the 14 Thunderers.
I don't know, whatever. Whichever you prefer.
Thunderers in the boat.
All right, Thunderers in the boat. Works for me.
Okay.
So great event. If you're ever in Canada in August, you have to come to CCBB. Awesome
I will
event.
come and I will play you in a game, and we'll work this out.
And I will gladly
just
take
conspire
the
together
game.
to see who's the better. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll gladly take the game for sure. It'll be an honor.
We'll grudge it.
It'll be a minor victory on kill points.
Sure.
I mean, I think I still believe in my 40-man unit, my 40-man Death Star, but yeah, clearly it works with MSU as well. So
yeah,
it's nice to have options.
You're both doing the same thing.
Yeah.
By splitting your forces and having this one thing that drops down and they have to deal with, or they have to sort of like this shock thing of the Thunderers coming down, and then your other big part of your army elsewhere, as opposed to just dropping down your whole army in one place. That's what you're both just in different ways.
I agree. And don't get me wrong, the big block of skyhooks is awesome as well. It can really delete shit. It's not my way of playing. I like to be more mobile. I don't like that big.
Yeah.
So that's
I'm the same.
So
it's definitely very static.
Yeah.
That blob.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's really up to what's your play style, and it's nice to have two examples of different lists that did well, and it might give some player hope. That can. There are options in the list. You can win with different lists, which is always a nice option to have.
Yeah.
Although always take Zilfin.
Always.
There's no option.
Always take Zilfin.
Always. That's not even an issue. It's not even close.
Dan is going to get so triggered.
I will put it out there right now. Barak Mornar is a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap skyport. Oh yeah, I'm gonna delete shit. Yeah, sure, you're gonna delete shit, but once you lose your general, which is a tough 5-wound model, you're done. Just Zilfin all the way.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Mornar uses the guy with the beard and the hat.
Brock.
Brock
Grungson. Yeah, a lot of Mornar uses Brock Grungson.
Yeah, to run, shoot, and charge.
Yeah.
But again, that's an expensive character that's not very durable. I played him a bit. He's cool. How can you not like a guy with guns in his mustache, right?
Yeah, mustache guns.
There you go. But I don't know. It's not my play style. I don't like the. It's gonna sound weird because I pretty much did that to most of my opponents, but I like to shoot everything off. I like to move. I like to do stuff. I like to maneuver. I like to be able to change tactics mid game. I like to do that. I like to have the chance to do that. And I think that only Zilfin allows you to do that properly. That's what I think.
Yeah. And so much has fly in the meta still. Yep. That reroll once to hit in the wound will pretty much always come up.
Yep. Although it only came up twice in my 6-game event, which is kind of weird, but still, only against Flesh Eater Courts both times.
I guess Slaanesh and Skaven,
and Stormcast.
And my weekend actually, I barely got it. Barely got any reroll ones.
Yeah.
But
I usually use the CPs for the Thunderers or the Riggers to reroll ones to hit in close combat or shooting, depending. So the Thunderers pretty much always reroll their ones to hit.
Yeah. Yeah, there's new command points, so pretty handy there.
I haven't actually played an event with GHB 19, so yeah.
Really?
The command points are that good?
Yeah. Well, that good. You mean?
Yeah.
If you like to roll once,
because I've
the new command points is rolling once to hit, close combat, shooting, or rolling saves of one in combat. So yeah, it can be pretty good on a big block of Thunderers.
Did you ever use it on the riggers to reroll ones in the combat phase for them? Or is that always on the Thunderers?
I might have used it once. I'm not sure. Because I think I used the chemist on the riggers twice in the tournament. So when they were up to like it was 19 attacks, I think, I didn't feel the need to roll once. Because again, riggers didn't get that often into combat. Usually I would just shoot things off the board. I would really focus fire on one part of his army, bring it down, and then move on to the other. So they rarely get into combat. I might have used it once, though. I think it was game 1 against the Evocators when he almost killed my Ironclad. I chemist buffed the engine riggers, and I think I used my CP on them as well. But I think I used it. So maybe once.
Okay.
Just to be sure.
The thing with the riggers is they will often just kill stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
if you send them in, so
it would be overkill.
Yeah.
And a waste of a command point.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Okay. And so the hidden objectives, which ones did you take? Did you take 18, was it? Yeah.
I think game 1, if I remember correctly, I took at the end of the game controlling more objectives than my opponent.
Yeah.
And was to have a hero with an artifact stay alive, which was my chemist. So did both. Second game against Slanesh was, I think, was kill 2/3 of his army, which I did. And what was the second one? I think I don't remember. Third game was having a unit of 5 models, or 3 models, or 3 or more models in my opponent's deployment zone, which I did. And I think it was having my whole army, a third of my army survive. I think that was it. Game 4 was controlling 2 more objectives than my opponent, which I did by starting first. And it was having a unit in each table quarter at the end of a turn, but not my opponent. Game 5 was killing all his battle lines, but having one of mine survive. And the second one, what was the second one? I can't remember the second one. And game 6 was leaving the table with a character. Like in the battle shock phase, if the hero is within 1 inch of the edge of the table and in my enemy deployment zone, I can remove it from the battle. And the next one was, I think it was killing a unit with battle shock, but I failed by a few demonettes. I think that, or was it the second? I don't remember. I think it was the second game, but I misremember one. So I failed both in that game anyway.
Yeah.
So that was it. If there was a 7th game, I would probably run out of doable agendas because I would have been down to killing a unit with magic, having losing a hero in combat with another hero. So stuff like that.
You never used the one to kill your enemy's highest point hero. Did you never use that?
Oh, that was I did. It might have been in game 3. I think it was game 3. I did use it once.
Yeah,
but I don't remember all. Yeah, I thought I used it early on, or it might be game. Oh, was it? I think it was game 3 against Fleshy Records.
Yeah,
killing his dragon. I think it was this one.
Yeah, because you know you're going to want to try and kill his dragon anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was either against Slanesh, first game Slanesh, or first game Fleshy Records. I used it. So.
You wouldn't want a 7-game event anyway. That would 4 games in one day.
No. And it was
would be
9.
outrageous.
It was a 9er. 3 days, 9 games with the doubles. I told myself I'm taking a month off. I'm not playing for a month. At least a month. Oh yeah. So I'm done for a while. I've had 2 prep tournaments the weeks before that. So I played like 15 games, competitive games over the past few weeks. So I'm done for a month. And that's what my girlfriend said to me as well. So.
Sorry.
I have no choice. I'm done.
Either of you guys have any ever questions for Adeptus?
Not at this stage, no. It's been very enlightening. Do you reckon you're going to take the exact same list to your next event, whenever that is, after your month break?
I might try to go to the Boys, which is in New York, in November. I'm not sure on that. So if I do go there, yes, I'm going to take the exact same list.
Okay.
Awesome.
Exactly.
I hope it goes well for you.
Well, maybe I'll try if I can make it there first, but hopefully, there's a 1-day event in Montreal. I think it's in a few weeks, 6th or 7th of September. I might go with my Stormcast this time, just to have a break.
Yep.
But if I do go to the Boys, I'm gonna bring my my KOs for sure. The exact same list.
Awesome.
Yep. Brilliant. Well, I think we pretty much covered everything. Have you got anything else to add, Adeptus, or?
Oh well, first of all, thanks for the invite, guys. It's been great. It's been awesome.
Been a pleasure.
Oh yeah, I like talking KOs. I like talking AoS, and hopefully, if for whatever reasons you're listening and you're in Canada or USA or whatever, and you want to come to a nice 2-day event in April, 4th and 5th of April, it's called Tirode Grand Clash, which is our club's name. It's a 2-day event. We had 40 players last year signed up. So if you're interested, just shoot me a message, Adeptus Diceus on Facebook, and we'll talk about it. It'll be great to have you on board.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to come down from Australia, it's a quick drive, I reckon. So just come over and just roll some dice.
Actually, I've got a kind of a question.
Sure.
If you're in Canada, have you ever been to Mini Wargaming?
No, I haven't. It's another province. It's I would say a 6 or 7 hour drive. I've watched their show, but I haven't been. I kind of want to do it, but with family and stuff, it's harder and harder. But one day maybe.
Yeah, if it's that much of a drive.
Yeah, it's not that big of a drive. And maybe I'll go to CanCon. Maybe.
Thank you.
Oh, you come? What? You want to go to CanCon?
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Go to CanCon.
I'm planning on going to the ETC next year because I'm kind of the de facto captain of Team Canada. So
nice.
I'm building a team to go to Luxembourg next summer. So that's our plan. That's our goal. It's going to be family vacation as well. So might as well play some games, roll some dice.
Yeah, definitely.
Huh?
Well, I mean, if you come down, I'll see you there.
Sure, yeah, that'll be great.
Nice. Okay, you guys want to give it to me?
Top table is going to be KO versus KO.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be sweet. That would be sweet.
Yeah, there's a few more Kiwis going over this year. Sadly, I won't be one of them. I've got too much to do with work.
I
won't.
That's a shame.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of Kiwis going over. There's also a bunch of Kiwis going to Sydney GT. So watch out for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're coming to get you.
Cool.
Yeah,
Well,
they're bloody well coming.
best of luck to all of those attending, especially you, Krohn. Best of luck. Do us proud.
Yeah.
My child is attacking me.
Thinking of
Come
using
here.
the gunstock escort wing.
Oh, really? I'm actually
Gonna-
slowly building it myself.
Yeah, I never had any gun haulers before, but now 2+ cannons that hit on 2+.
Yeah.
4 cannons that hit on 2+.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I mean
Yeah.
that might fit into your wheelhouse, Adeptus, because you can always sort of use them as sort of MSU units.
Yeah.
In a similar way.
And you know that's before they'll become Battle Line, our next book, hopefully.
Yeah,
see more of them.
just hoping.
Do you have a website or a Facebook event or something for that tournament?
It's not up yet, but we do have a Facebook page for our group. It's going to be posted on there. But if you're in Canada, if you're in the United States, it's a Groupe de Jeux Les Tireux de Dés, which is our group. Just take a peek. It's going to be up in a few months. It's sold out because we only had room for 40 players last year. It's sold out in about 2 weeks. So we're expanding this year. We're hoping for 60 players, which would be Canada's largest event. So knock on wood, we'll see how it works out.
If you want to give me a link to the group, then I'll put it in the show description. So then if anyone wants to find it, they can click through there.
No, that'll be awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Hopefully, it'd be good if you could get it up to 60-man tournament. It'd be amazing, brilliant.
Yeah, it would be great.
Yeah.
And I think we covered everything. So thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to
You're gonna make the show.
come on again in the future, let us know.
Sure. Well, I'll be more than happy to join and discuss AoS and KOs with you guys.
Yeah. And thank you, Alex and Hayden, for coming on as always, and for your son as well joining us.
Very good.
All right.
Well.
All right.
And thank you to everyone that's watching, if there is anyone watching.
Probably not. Prime content.
Hey, actually, I think there are. Well, it says there's 4 people watching, but that could be us.
Oh yeah, it might be us.
You never know. All right. Well, we'll find out in the future, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess we'll call it a day. But thank you all very much.
I've got to go wrangle up a bloody 2-year-old.
Yeah.
As is
I'm gonna go have breakfast.
Hey.
And I'm gonna have dinner. So
Yeah. Good.
Time zones.
All
Time
right.
zones.
we're just lagging. We're still
See ya.
Saturday.